Next we're going to show how to draft with this pump. There are two methods. The first method that we'll show is when there's water still in the tank and still in the pump. There should always be water in the tank because you should never use reserve water except in an emergency. However, sometimes you may find that that water's been used or the pump is dry, and that'll be the second method that we'll show. First method is when the tank and the pump has still got water, so the pump has no risk of running dry. So the first step is to connect your draft hose. Once you've done that, start the pump and run it at medium revs. Open the draft valve, close the tank to pump. That will prevent the pump from pulling water from the tank, and then slowly open your recirculation valve. Use the prime to keep priming the pump for up to 30 seconds. That will suck the air out of the draft hose and the water will come into the pump. When the compound gauge begins to read a negative pressure, you'll know that the pump has actually got water in it, not just air, and you can release the prime. Once the tank is full of water, drop your revs on the pump. You can then close the draft valve, close your recirculation valve, and reopen your tank to pump. This time we're going to show how to draft when the pump is dry. If for some reason the tank has been run dry with water, then the pump is also dry. If you run the pump, it can cause damage. So we're going to do a method where you can get water into the pump before you start it. So firstly, hook up your draft hose like before. You can then open your draft valve. You still need to close your tank to pump. So it's now ready for us to prime. You can prime, that will pull air out of the draft hose and pull the water up into the pump area. Once you've seen the air in the draft hose disappear and you've got water coming up through here, you can then start the pump, run it at medium revs, and open your recirculation valve. It can take a while with this method to actually prime and get the air out of the pipe. If it takes more than 30 seconds, stop the prime and just give it a rest for a little bit, and then pull the prime again and have another go and give another 30 seconds. If you're on the urban interface and you've got access to a pressure point such as a hydrant, it's a good idea to hook up the hydrant as soon as you can rather than using water out of your truck. To do that, run a lay flat hose into your draft point. You can then open your draft valve. Remember to close your tank to pump. And in this configuration now, we'll be getting water from a hydrant pressure source into the pump, and then we're pumping directly from there out our lines. Make sure your recirc valve is still off. If the recirc valve is open, you'll end up filling the tank with water and it'll overflow.